Hello, hello. I'm Tracy Pierce. Thanks for joining me for this series of free mini animal communications. So the idea for this series was really born out of what was happening in the United States, March of 2020, when the pandemic really hit. Um, Different states were going down into various levels of lockdown, shelter in place. And I just became really curious about what the animals thought about all of this, both, the wild and the domestic animals. And my animal friends really encouraged me to just start making this live video series. And, now that we're here in July, there's still a lot of animals coming forward who want to share their wisdom. So I'm just continuing this, and it's been a lot of fun. And so today we're going to talk to a little toad. Let me pull up its picture. All right, so here's our little toad friend. This toad keeps visiting me. I moved recently, and it was the first or second night that we were here. This toad just jumped across our front patio, and it's not every day, but I keep seeing this toad. It's like every night. It's not every night, almost every night. He'll kind of like, it's like he's commuting or something and going to someplace else. And I'm just really wondering what's up with this toad. And it seems like it had some wisdom to share with us. So I'm going to check in with him and see what he'd like to share. If you're joining us live here on Zoom, let me make sure I got my Zoom chat up. There we go. It's pulling it up on the wrong screen. If you're joining us live, you can click on the bottom bar of Zoom. There should be a chat button and type in any questions you might have for this toad. So I'm just going to get quiet and tune in and see what this toad would like to tell us. Okay, so I think my husband and I have both been referring to this as a he. But as I'm tuning in now a little bit deeper, it feels like this is a female toad. So what would you like for us to know, little toad friend, about you, about your species, your opinions on the world? So we've been having a lot of the animals show us like which element they are associated with most. And this this toad is showing very much the earth element comes forward in this toad. It's really in the mud, in the earth itself. Is there something that you want us to know about that earth element or how you relate to it or anything? So it shows it's this really like pleasurable feeling. It's showing itself laying on its belly and the sensation of like sinking into the mud. And it's showing just how pleasurable that kind of feeling is for the toad. There's almost a sense of like becoming one with the earth, kind of merging in with the earth. Yeah, it's really showing that absorption through the belly area, that earth element, and it's almost like then it kind of radiates out into the surrounding, this kind of earthiness. Is there something else you want us to know about the earth element or how you relate to it or bring it forward? So the toad's saying, my message isn't that dissimilar from some of the other animals that you've talked to who have mentioned the earth element, showing it, specifically showing how humans as a species have become quite disconnected from that earth element. The frog is showing that humans in general tend to resonate more with the air element. He's showing, she is showing that, humans tend to be in our heads much more, and that is more associated with the air element in this fast moving stuff. This toad is saying, yeah, that the air is a very fast moving kind of quality, and a lot of humans are so plugged into that earth element, or not the earth, the air element, that they're kind of flighty and always in their heads. And the toad is saying if they could become more connected to the earth element, that's one way of becoming more grounded or feeling your body, is having the literal connection with the earth. So not wearing shoes or any hand coverings or anything, but actually putting your bare hands or feet on the earth. If you want to, you can get naked and roll around in the mud like I do, but that's optional. That would be a really good way to reconnect. So yeah, it's showing also bringing forward the water element a little bit as well, showing this kind of connection between the earth and the water elements. Yeah, the toad says it would be inaccurate to say I only bring forward the earth element, because water definitely plays a very big role in a toad or a reptile like mine's kind of life. Do you want to say more about that? So it's showing how the earth and the water elements really work together. It's showing mud, like that's the earth and the water together. And how mud is very important to a toad. Is there something you feel like a message you have for us humans, or something you want us to know or understand more about this earth and water element combination? So it's showing me how, just in general, humans are quite disconnected from nature, from the earth, from water. Um, Saying, Tracy, you're lucky. Just the area where you live, there's a lot more connection to the earth, outdoor activities than perhaps in other areas like where you lived before. There's some desire or wish for humans to, it's almost like I feel this get out of the city kind of message. This toad feels like it's much harder for humans to be in touch with their true nature in cities, in environments, urban environments. Well, I know there's toads that live in urban environments too. Is there, and cities are kind of the way of life now. Is there something more that you want people to know about that? So again, my message is not dissimilar from what many of the other animals have shared, where just get out into nature. Like, don't always live your entire existence inside a building. Yeah. Can you show me that again, please? I think I missed it. Yeah, making time to get out into nature, especially city dwellers. And the toad's saying that might not be, it may not be feasible to, if you live in a big city and you got to drive 2 hours to get out of the city and the suburbs, that may not be feasible. It's showing, parks or areas that are just less densely populated, if you can even get to some of those. It keeps showing me like it's bringing up San Francisco for some reason. I visited there a few years ago, and there were little pockets of places like different parks that you could go to that would be more away from these densely populated kind of areas. Okay, looks like we have a question coming in for you. So do you think the human disconnection from the earth has much to do with us being two-legged instead of four-legged? It says, well, that's an interesting theory. I hadn't thought about it like that before. But it is showing, yeah, with four-legged, there is something about the belly area being closer to the earth, like having, not exactly parallel, but kind of parallel for four-leggeds, how the belly is parallel to the ground, that it brings a different vibration into the belly, like the belly receives the earth vibration in a different way than bipeds when we're standing upright. The toad says that humans, then they receive a lot more of the earth vibrations through their feet. And because, most humans wear shoes, like most of the time, even, inside, outside, whatever, that there's a certain level of disruption that happens, like the disconnection, the earth vibration can't really come up. It's showing how so many of our shoes these days are made from rubber or other kind of materials that block this energy from coming up. So the toe said, yes, that's definitely true. And it has to do, yeah, with the positioning and how, particularly is saying like the earth element tends to resonate a lot with energies in the belly. And so that's one of the reasons four-leggeds tend to be more connected to the earth, is because the energy of the earth can get to it more directly. Yeah, I kind of, I get this sense of like the belly of animals and of humans, like it's kind of like a cauldron. And I really get that sense for some reason as you're describing that. Is that something you're showing me or want to say more about, this cauldron-esque-ness of the belly energies? So it's saying that animals are much less afraid of the energy that comes from the belly than humans generally are. She says, I'm making a generalization, but um, the toad is saying that as animals, we have to be in touch with our belly energies in order to survive, because it is still a dog eat dog survival kind of situation for all animals. And humans are different. It says like the survival thing with humans has become different because of the manipulation of the system, basically. But saying that it is the animals being in touch with that belly energy that really allows them to survive. The toad is showing, so like soldiers in war have to be quite in touch with that kind of energy in the belly in order to survive. But as a whole, as a society, like generally around the world, those kind of belly energies have been repressed. It's showing this kind of pushing down. I see like specifically kind of Catholic Church, and there's probably many other religions just kind of pushing down. Yeah, the toad's showing how the walking upright aligns us more with an angel kind of energy as humans. And he's saying, so it's, the toad is saying, like, it's not that the animals aren't in connection somehow with, you know, perhaps an angelic part of themselves, but the toad is saying the upright positioning of humans, it affects how we receive those kind of messages, because we're more vertical, is showing like it's more like we're like an antenna rod. And yeah, that we can choose how we receive these messages, and it has to do with it's showing how people who are more in touch with their belly energy while they're being upright are more able to receive messages, let them land. Is that because you like, I get the sense when you're describing this belly energy, it's about like being grounded and being like literally ground earth, right? And I just wonder if you feel like people who are in touch with that belly energy are just more grounded, and that's why they're able to receive those messages. Well, that's not the entirety of the story, it's saying, because it is showing some people who are, it's showing one person in particular. We actually did some communication with him previously, Addison. He's a young boy, he's 19, who has cerebral palsy, and how, like, in some ways he's very much not connected to his body and receiving messages. I think I might be missing something of what you're saying, little toad friend. Can you clarify for me? Well, I don't want to say that one way of receiving messages from the divine or from your higher self is right or wrong. He's just pointing that there are differences of people who are very, you know, they might appear to be not connected to their body, or kind of airy fairy kind of thing. And it's not that perhaps they're not receiving accurate messages or anything like that. But there is something the toad is saying that feels more solid with people who have that connection to the belly, to the animalistic energies. So we got another question coming in for you. Do you think that if we practice more belly awareness, that we might be more aware and connected to the earth? Oh, definitely. It says definitely, definitely. It's like, I would love for nothing more than all humans to find a mud pile and roll their bellies in the mud, in the earth, to like really smear all that earth around them. But yeah, she's showing, so now what she's showing is like a pregnant human, and it's almost like the whole earth. She's showing the sphere of the earth in the place of the pregnant belly, and showing how, yes, like there's so much connection to earth energy in the belly that we get in touch with. So it's showing me some, you know, I'm not exactly sure what it looks like to me is like old Native American kind of rituals, where maybe there was a bonfire, or there was screaming, or like a community grief ceremony. Um, it's showing me all these, you know, it's not just Native American. I think that's how it's showing to me, but they're like ancient, more ancient kind of rituals that communities and tribes would do together, that really activated that belly energy, you know, where there was shouting or singing or joy. Maybe part of it, there was anger or rage as a part of the ceremony, but then there could also be joy. Like there's this depth and fullness of belly energies that these old kind of rituals could bring forward and solidify it as a community. And it's showing how we just, as a society, don't really have those kind of rituals. anymore that activate, it's saying it's much easier to activate the belly energies in a community kind of setting. It's almost like the bellies can resonate together. It's showing how, how laughter can be contagious sometimes. Like, ah, ha, 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 you get the belly really laughing and then just it spreads to everybody. It's showing how engaging with that belly energy ideally is such a like community experience that you just resonate with the whole group and it like, okay, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Joe. That's really cool. Well, that seems like a really great place to leave our conversation unless there's anything else that you want to share with our viewers today, little toad friend. Oh, it's telling me, so my husband's been kind of wondering, like, why does this toad always go across the patio kind of right around sunset? And yeah, it is this sense of like, yeah, I'm commuting. I spend part of my day over here and then going back to, yeah, it's a sense of like a commute, like going from work to home kind of thing. It's like, it's not that I'm going from work to home, but it's my normal commute pattern. Cool. Thanks so much, little toad friend. And thanks so much to all our viewers who have checked out this video and participated. These videos have been really fun for me to make and to chat with all these animal friends. They have the most interesting things to say. So I hope you'll join us again sometime. And until next time, take care and be well.